Oh my god, no way! It's nearby! We actually found a Herobrine!
These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns of all time. This first speedrun begins, and right away, there's something completely fake about the speedrun. Surprisingly, it doesn't have anything to do with the spawn, as the world generation looked completely legit. And it also doesn't have anything to do with this game mode, as we can clearly see he's in survival with 0 XP. But let's take a closer look at this speedrunner's keyboard cam. If you look closely, even though the runner's hands are clearly off the keyboard, the speedrunner's character starts to move. And on top of this, when the runner goes to collect wood from this tree, we can also see that his hand is literally off the mouse. This actually proves that this footage is pre-recorded and the runner's keyboard cam is completely fake. Either way, the run starts off fairly normally as the runner locates a shipwreck, loots a couple of chests, and makes his way to a nearby village. And while both the chests in the village and the iron golem are completely normal, the runner finds a floating ruined portal. Now, while this technically is possible to spawn naturally, after literally asking ChatGPT, the odds of this happening is 1 in every 2 million chunks, which basically means this is clearly fake. So, after collecting all the loot from the village that the speedrunner needs, the runner makes his way to the floating ruined portal. We're giving him the benefit of the doubt. All the items in this ruined portal chest contain completely normal items. But while the speedrunner is literally placing obsidian on the ruined portal, move your focus towards his keyboard cam, where we can literally see the speedrunner scrolling on TikTok. This guy is so bad at cheating. So, the runner gathers the materials from the chest, completes the portal, and prepares to spawn into the nether, where he spawns in the direct middle of this giant lava pool. But without any ender pearls or enough blocks in his inventory, how is the runner supposed to make his way to the surface? Well, without hesitation, the runner literally starts walking forward, where it looks as though he's walking on air. And after following a very specific path, the runner actually walks on air all the way to safety. But let's rewind the footage and take a closer look at what really happened. Because as soon as the runner spawned in, take a closer look at this ceiling, where you can see this very specific set of glowstone that clearly can't spawn naturally. And if you play the footage, you'll actually notice the speedrunner is following the exact same path these glowstone blocks are going. If you couldn't already tell, this runner was walking on invisible barrier blocks. But to make sure he didn't fall in the lava, he placed the exact same path with glowstone directly above him. And while that's very smart, this is clearly fake. So the runner makes his way to the surface, where he almost immediately locates a nether bastion. And after collecting an iron pickaxe, the runner mines some gold and starts to trade with a group of nearby piglins. But as the runner is clearly in the middle of trading with these piglins, you can literally see the speedrunner leave his desk and keyboard. Seriously, who is actually doing this speedrun? So the runner continues to trade with the piglins, but he seems to be getting slightly more loot than normal. Well, at this part of the footage, take a very close look into the right side of the screen, where you can actually see another set of golden ingots being thrown at the piglins. And when the runner turns around to check his inventory, at this exact frame, we can see the slightest portion of an arm that is clearly coming from another player. This other player is clearly also trading with the exact same piglins, so the speedrunner can get far more loot. So, with two people trading at the same time, the runner quickly collects all the ender pearls that he needs. But make note of the fact that the runner only has 8 blocks of obsidian, which will become very important very soon. So the runner leaves the bastion, where he begins his search for a nether fortress. And while he locates one without any suspicious activity, he actually reveals something else that's completely fake. Because when the runner goes to the blaze spawner, he finds far more blazes than possible to spawn here. Well, if you rewind the footage to just 20 seconds earlier and take a closer look at this wall, you'll actually notice 2 extra blaze spawners have been placed before recording. The runner obviously tried to place them in a spot that we couldn't see, but he just got caught cheating. So, with this insane amount of blazes at the blaze spawner, it's pretty easy for the runner to collect 7 blaze rods. And with 7 blaze rods and 12 ender pearls, a normal speedrunner would then start heading back towards the overworld. The only problem is, the runner only has 8 blocks of obsidian in their inventory, meaning they don't have enough to craft another portal. Well, the runner turns around and sees an obsidian blaze? How did that spawn in vanilla Minecraft? Well, the runner starts attacking the obsidian blaze, and when he kills it, this blaze drops the final 2 pieces of obsidian he needs to complete the portal. What is even happening? So, the runner crafts another portal, lights it, where they finally spawn back into the overworld. But this is when the speedrunner decides it's the perfect time to start playing games on his phone. Is he even trying to hide that he's cheating? Well, the runner crafts his Eyes of Ender and starts throwing them in the air, using a popular technique known as triangulation to locate the position of the strongholds. But this is when the funniest thing I've ever seen in a Minecraft speedrun happens. Because after the runner throws his eye, look at what he sees in the sky. It's another player wearing a skin with an Eye of Ender on it and a background of a sky. And this player is literally pretending that he's a real Eye of Ender and starts flying around in the sky. This is too much to handle. Well, the speedrunner follows this quote-unquote Eye of Ender, where it happens to fly all the way to the exact position of the strongholds. And the best part is, during all of this, the runner is literally eating food during the speedrun. This is out of control. So, the runner locates the position of the strongholds, where they start digging down in hopes of locating the end portal room. But as they're digging down, take a closer look into the top right corner of the screen, where the speedrunner randomly gets a fire resistance effect. Not only does this reveal there was a cut in the recording, but this will make more sense very soon. So, the runner continues digging down, where they finally enter the stronghold and begin searching for the end portal room. But they just can't seem to find it after wasting a ton of time looking for it. Well, the runner decides to travel to a nearby cave, where they find this pretty standard looking lava pool, where they suddenly jump in the lava pool without hesitation. And because the runner just got a fire resistance potion, he doesn't take any damage. Well, after about 30 seconds in this random lava pool, when the runner goes back up to the surface, he's somehow in the end portal room. I don't even want to question it. So, the runner goes to the portal, places his Eyes of Ender, and successfully enters the end. And giving the speedrunner the benefit of the doubt, absolutely nothing seems weird about his spawn into the end, as the runner makes his way to the surface and starts to fight the Ender Dragon pretty normally. The only issue is, when the runner is literally killing the Ender Dragon, you can clearly see that the speedrunner is on his phone texting. And when the runner actually kills the Ender Dragon, his hand isn't even on the mouse. We're just gonna move on. This next speedrun begins, and at a first glance, everything appears to be pretty normal. The runner is selecting the first slot of their inventory, they're in survival mode with 0 XP, and they're also facing completely straight. However, did you notice that when the runner spawned in, his game menu was actually open? This is something that's impossible, as in a real Minecraft speedrun, you can never spawn in with your menu open. This proves that the world generation was completely fake, and the runner is playing on a world he's likely already been on, which makes even more sense when you notice the runner not only spawns in front of a village, but there's also a ruined portal extremely close to his spawn. Either way, the run begins with the runner mining some wood, crafting himself a couple tools, and entering the nearby village, where the runner actually comes across 3 iron golems in one single village. And while it's technically possible that these spawn naturally, there's one small detail which reveals 2 of them are completely fake. Because notice how when the runner hits the first golem, it immediately starts to attack. However, when the runner hits the other 2 golems, neither of them act hostile towards the speedrunner. This is only possible if the speedrunner built these 2 iron golems off camera, as iron golems you build yourself will never attack back no matter how many times you hit it. So, the runner kills all 3 iron golems, where they collect a ton of iron, gather a couple beds and hay from the village, and make their way to the nearby ruins portal. Now, I want you to take a mental image of this nether portal at this frame. Got it? Well, the runner moves towards it, where they gather a little extra wood on the way, where it seems as though they get extremely lucky, as they find the exact amount of obsidian they need in the ruins portal chest. But let's rewind the footage to just a few seconds ago, because this is actually completely fake. Because look, at this frame, we can clearly see the ruins portal looks like this. However, after the runner went to collect wood from this tree, one more piece of obsidian has been placed in the top left corner. This proves there was a cut in the recording where the runner likely went off camera and placed an extra piece of obsidian on the portal. So the runner loots the ruin portal chest, completes the portal, and spawns into the nether, where they actually spawn in a pretty terrible location as they're enclosed by blocks all around them. Well, while this may appear to be unlucky, this is actually yet another way the speedrunner has cheated, because it's actually impossible for a nether portal to spawn you completely enclosed in blocks. Because when the runner starts destroying the blocks around them, he breaks directly into a fortress. This guy is terrible at cheating. So, the runner enters the fortress, where they begin their search for a nearby blaze spawner. And they actually locate one fairly quickly, where they start fighting blazes and collecting blaze rods. Now, you probably missed it, but this part of the speedrun is actually completely fake. Because, in a nether fortress, blazes can only start spawning when a player is within 16 blocks of the spawner. However, at this frame, we can clearly see a handful of blazes have already spawned in, even though the runner is clearly farther than 16 blocks away. This means that the runner spawned in these blazes himself off camera, likely to have a better chance at collecting blaze rods. So, the runner makes their way to the spawner, where they kill a few blazes and start collecting blaze rods pretty quickly. But the runner actually starts to leave the fortress after they only collect 5 blaze rods, which is far less than the 7 a normal speedrunner would collect. And while this may seem odd, this will make more sense later in the run. So, after collecting the rods the speedrunner needs, they begin their search for a nearby bastion. But out of nowhere, the speedrunner randomly decides to start digging down at this exact block. And after only a few seconds of digging, the runner drops down into a bastion. But hold on, that's literally impossible. There's no way the runner could have known the bastion was under this random block. Well, let's actually rewind the footage and take a closer look at what happened. Do you notice this group of fossils that is located directly next to where the speedrunner dug down from? Well, the fossils themselves are actually completely legitimate. However, where they spawn in are completely fake, because nether fossils can only spawn in one specific biome, a soul sand valley. But if we look at the footage, we can clearly see this is not a soul sand valley. This actually means the runner built these fossils himself in creative mode to remind him that a bastion was located under these blocks. So, the runner enters the bastion, where they collect a few gold blocks, craft some ingots, and starts to trade with the piglins. But these are some of the goofiest piglins I've ever seen in Minecraft, because they start dropping some of the most random items I've ever seen. Pink wool, music discs, oak planks. What is wrong with these piglins? Well, among all of the really weird trades that the piglins are making, there's one specific item that's extremely important for the speedrun, which is when the runner gets this redstone torch. Remember this item for later in the run. So, after a handful of terrible items, the runner finally gets the ender pearls that he needs. But once again, the runner collects far less ender pearls than a normal speedrunner would collect, as he only gathers 10. Remember these 10 pearls along with the 5 blaze rods for later in the run. So, after collecting his loot, the runner uses the obsidian he got from the piglins to craft a nether portal and head back to the overworld, where they start throwing their eyes of ender in hopes of locating a stronghold. But they seem to be having a lot of trouble with this process, as they simply can't seem to find the right location. Well, the runner pulls out the redstone torch he received from the piglin trade, where he places it on this random block, which actually opens up a hole in the ground, revealing a ladder all the way down to the stronghold. What just happened? So, the runner enters the strongholds, or like a normal speedrunner would, they begin to search for the end portal room, and the runner actually manages to locate it pretty quickly. There's just one slight issue. What kind of cursed end portal is that? It's literally vertical and shaped like a nether portal. Is this a new feature? Well, do you remember when the speedrunner only collected 5 blaze rods and 10 pearls earlier in the run? That means the runner can only craft 10 eyes of Ender, which is actually the perfect amount that he needs to light this vertical end portal. But come on, there's actually no way this portal lights. It's not even possible. Oh my god, it actually worked. What am I even looking at right now? So, the runner enters the vertical end portal where they actually spawn into the end. And thankfully, their spawn is pretty legit, as the runner is still in survival mode, the dragon has full health, and he doesn't have any strange potion effects in the corner of the screen. But when the runner goes to the surface, is that a creeper ender dragon? How many updates did I miss? Well, when the creeper ender dragon finally perches, the runner immediately heads towards it to attack. But the creeper dragon actually explodes, completely killing the speedrunner. I guess the runner should have known that would come from the creeper dragon. This next speedrun begins with the runner spawning directly next to a mansion. And while there's technically nothing fake about this spawn, the odds of spawning in directly next to a woodland mansion are over 1 in 10 million. So while technically possible, it's definitely something to keep our eye on. Anyway, giving him the benefit of the doubt, the run begins with the speedrunner mining some wood, crafting a few tools, and entering the mansion. All completely legit. But let's take a closer look at this chest that the speedrunner loots. In a real mansion, this chest is supposed to be located on this block. However, in this mansion, we can clearly see the chest was placed 1 block to the left. And when the speedrunner goes to loot this mansion chest, you'll actually notice that he finds diamonds and an iron pickaxe inside, which are both items that can't naturally spawn in a mansion chest. It's pretty obvious this chest was tampered with by the speedrunner before recording. But there's also something in the mansion that proves his spawn was fake. Because as the speedrunner is running through the mansion, have you noticed he hasn't come across a single mob? Well, the only possible explanation for this is that the runner is playing in peaceful mode. The problem is, if we take a closer look at the speedrunner's world generation, we clearly saw he had his game mode set to normal. This actually proves that the world generation and his spawn are 2 different clips edited together. And the runner is actually using a set seed, which explains how he got an incredibly lucky spawn right next to a mansion. So, the runner finishes looting the mansion, where to nobody's surprise, they immediately find a village next door. But giving him the benefit of the doubt, the speedrunner starts killing the iron golem, looting a few chests, and collecting beds. Nothing out of the ordinary. However, let's take a very close look at what happens when the runner goes to farm these hay bales. I'll play the clip. Did you catch that? While the runner was innocently mining the hay, they randomly received an iron ingot in their inventory. And if you play the footage, you'll actually notice this iron ingot came from in between this stack of hay. It's pretty obvious the runner placed this here before recording to gain an advantage. So, with this extra piece of iron, the runner can craft both an iron bucket and flint and steel, where they start to search for a lava pool in hopes of crafting a nether portal. The only problem is, when the runner locates a lava pool, they realize they've accidentally filled their bucket with milk instead of water. And with no water sources nearby, it would waste way too much time for the speedrunner to go find water. Well, the speedrunner still decides to pull out the milk bucket, where he places it into the lava and what? Actually creates obsidian with a milk bucket. What did I just witness? So, after creating a nether portal with milk, the runner lights the portal and makes their way into the nether, where the runner gets incredibly lucky, spawning directly next to a bastion. But there's actually something about his spawn that proves the speedrunner is cheating, because if we rewind the footage to before the runner entered the portal, we can clearly see that the speedrunner is holding a wooden axe in their hands. However, after entering into the nether, the runner is clearly holding an iron pickaxe. This proves there was a cut in the recording where the speedrunner likely went off camera, located a bastion, and pretended like nothing happened. ingots. So the runner spawns in, enters the bastion, and immediately starts looking for gold blocks to collect. But after searching for over 5 minutes, the runner simply can't seem to find a single gold block anywhere in the bastion. And without any gold blocks, the runner can't craft gold ingots, meaning he won't be able to make any trades with piglins. Well, the runner decides to pull out some redstone he got from the mansion chest earlier in the run and starts throwing it at the piglins. Okay, they're clearly not gonna make any trades with redstone. Oh my gosh, they're trading with redstone. How is this possible? So, not only do the piglins start trading with literal redstone, they actually start giving the speedrunners some of the most overpowered trades in Minecraft. Ender pearls, obsidian, and even fire resistance. But there's actually one single item the runner receives from the piglins that's completely fake, which is this stone button. And while it may appear to be unimportant, remember this button for later in the run. So, with all the pearls and obsidian the runner needs, he begins his search for a fortress, where he actually locates one pretty quickly, where they head straight towards the blaze spawner. And giving the runner credit, he actually does a pretty good job at fighting the blazes, collecting 3 rods almost immediately. But when the runner opens their inventory for just a split second, take a look into the top corner, where you can clearly see that the runner has a blaze spawner egg in their inventory. It's pretty obvious the runner used this egg to spawn in way more blazes than could spawn naturally, but forgot to clear it from their inventory before recording. So, with a good amount of blazes, the runner's able to collect 7 blaze rods pretty quickly. But the runner then makes an incredibly terrible mistake, because when the runner goes to leave the fortress, they accidentally waste 4 blocks of their obsidian building out of it, which means the runner now doesn't have enough obsidian to build a portal. So how are they supposed to travel to the overworld? Well, the runner pulls out his pickaxe and they start to dig in this random nether wall, where they have clearly carved out the shape of a nether portal. And I have no idea how, but the runner pulls out his flint and steel and actually creates a nether portal. How is that possible? Well, the runner enters the portal and somehow is actually teleported into the overworld. But instead of crafting Eyes of Ender and looking for the strongholds like a real speedrunner would, this speedrunner instead decides to pull out a bed and place it on the ground. Okay, I guess this isn't too weird. He probably just wants to get some rest. Oh my gosh. When the runner wakes up, he has literally spawned directly into the strongholds. How is that possible? So, after waking up in the stronghold, the runner begins their search for the end's portal. But after literally 10 minutes of searching, the runner simply can't seem to locate it. Well, the speedrunner decides they've had enough, so they go to loot this stronghold chest, where they find some pretty normal loot. Iron boots, apples, 12 end portal frames. Wait, what? Well, the runner grabs the 12 end portal frames, builds their very own end portal, and it actually lights. This is so obviously fake, I don't even care anymore. So, the runner builds the portal, places his eyes, and spawns into the end, where right off the bat, the Ender Dragon is somehow at half health. And when the runner goes to the surface, every single crystal has already been destroyed. And with all of that, it's incredibly easy for the runner to kill the Ender Dragon. This next speedrun begins with the runner spawning next to both a desert pyramid and a village. And while the spawn is incredibly lucky, there's technically nothing fake about it so far. As the runner is in survival mode, he's selecting the first slot of his inventory, and he starts off the run by mining some wood, crafting some tools, and moving towards the desert pyramid. All completely legit, but let's watch closely to what happens when the runner goes to loot the desert pyramid. Did you catch that? When the runner dug down into the pyramid, he clearly touched the pressure plate on the floor. However, not a single piece of TNT went off, which means the runner removed all of the TNT in the desert pyramid before recording. But that's not all, because the runner also finds some pretty strange items in the pyramid chests. In the first chest, he finds flint and steel, an item that can't naturally spawn there. In the second chest, the runner finds 8 gold ingots, even though the max per chest is only 7. And in the fourth chest, the runner finds a netherite axe, an item that he clearly placed himself in creative mode before recording. This cheating is so obvious. So, after collecting a couple of overpowered items, the speedrun continues with the runner making his way to the nearby village, where to my surprise, every single chest that he loots contains completely normal items. And the runner starts collecting beds and mining some hay, both pretty normal things you do in a speedrun. But things start to get weird when the runner goes to kill the village's iron golem, because the runner finds the dirt golem? You have to be kidding me. Well, instead of dropping iron like a normal iron golem, the dirt golem actually drops dirt. What is happening? So, after looting the rest of the village, the runner begins to search for a lava pool. The only problem is, without the iron golem, the runner doesn't have any iron to craft a bucket. So how is he supposed to build a nether portal? Well, as the speedrunner is traveling towards the nearby lava pool, he magically collects 6 iron ingots out of thin air. But let's rewind the footage and take a closer look at what really happened. If you slow down this clip and look into the top corner of the screen, you'll actually notice there's another player in the speedrun who's wearing a skin he thinks blends in with the sky. And if you play the clip, you can clearly see this player drop the iron ingots for the speedrunner as soon as he passes by. Not only is this clearly fake, but this proves the runner is on a multiplayer server, something that's clearly not allowed during a solo speedrun. So, with 6 iron ingots, the runner now has enough iron to craft a bucket and starts creating the shape of a nether portal. But this guy must be new to speedrunning because the runner actually creates a square nether portal. But the runner still pulls out the flint and steel from their inventory. There is no way this works. Oh my gosh, the portal lit. I am not going to question it. So, the runner enters the square portal, spawns into the nether, and begins their search for a nether fortress. But on the way, the runner notices something incredibly strange. This ghast, which at a first glance appears to be way smaller than what a normal ghast is supposed to look like. And secondly, the runner is currently in a crimson forest, a biome that ghasts can't naturally spawn in. Well, the runner starts getting closer to this weird ghast, where all of a sudden, he mounts onto the ghast and starts flying on the ghast all the way around the nether, while he's still in survival mode. I think I've seen it all. So, after hopping onto a flying ghast, the runner quickly travels throughout the nether and locates a fortress, where the runner not only finds 1, but 2, 3, 4, and 5 blaze spawners in a single blaze spawner room. While this is clearly impossible and was definitely placed by the runner before recording, come on, 5 blaze spawners is just unnecessary. Either way, with 5 spawners, there's far more blazes than normal, and the runner easily collects 7 blaze rods, where a normal speedrunner would then make their way to a bastion to collect both ender pearls and obsidian. But this is when the speedrunner decides it's the perfect time to quit his game, go to multiplayer, and start playing Bed Wars during the speedrun. You have to be kidding me. Well, after the speedrunner literally plays Bed Wars during the run, he finally returns to the game. But the runner is now somehow directly in front of a bastion, which he was clearly not anywhere near before he started playing Bed Wars. If you haven't caught on, the runner clearly used Bed Wars as a distraction from locating a bastion off camera and pretending it was there the entire time. So, the runner enters the bastion, where they need to start collecting gold so they can trade with piglins. The only problem is, the runner doesn't have enough sticks in their inventory to craft an iron pickaxe, meaning they can't collect gold blocks and won't be able to trade with piglins. Well, the runner decides to head to this chest and starts looting it, where he happens to find the exact iron pickaxe that he needs. The only problem is, it's literally impossible for an iron pickaxe to spawn naturally in this chest. So how is this possible? Well, if we rewind the footage to about 10 seconds earlier, we can clearly see the same player we saw give the runner iron earlier in the run, open the chest, and place an iron pickaxe inside. These guys are terrible at cheating. So, with an iron pickaxe equipped, the runner easily mines gold blocks and starts to trade with the piglins, where the runner actually gets pretty lucky as he manages to get a full stack of ender pearls pretty quickly. But what kind of cursed ender pearls are those? They're literally bright red when everybody knows they're supposed to be green. Let's just ignore it for now. So, after collecting 16 red ender pearls and enough obsidian, the runner builds another portal and travels back to the overworld. And when the runner goes to craft his Eyes of Ender, they look extremely cursed. But if we ignore the strange Eyes of Ender, the runner actually locates the strongholds pretty quickly using a popular technique known as triangulation, where they dig down, fall into the stronghold, and begin their search for the end portal room. And on their way, the runner comes across this stronghold chest, which appears to contain some pretty normal items. Gold ingots, iron ingots, a spectator potion. Wait, what? Is this a real Minecraft item? Well, the runner grabs the spectator potion from the chest, and after they drink it, their game mode literally changes to spectator mode, where they can easily fly around the stronghold and locate the end portal room. I don't even know what to think anymore. So, the runner locates the end portal room, where they thankfully have enough eyes to finish the portal. The only problem is, these Eyes of Ender are extremely cursed. So, when the runner places his final eye in the portal turns red? That looks pretty scary. Well, the runner jumps into the red end portal, but when they spawn into the end, everything looks like the nether. Well, the runner enters the nether end, where after they destroy the crystals, they actually make pretty quick work of the ender dragon. This next speedrun begins with the runner immediately locating both a village and ruined portal at spawn, where they start off the run by mining some wood, crafting some tools, and entering the nearby village. But let's actually rewind the footage because his spawn is completely fake. If you look closely, you'll actually notice that when the speedrun begins, the runner is selecting the second slot in their inventory. The problem is, in a real Minecraft speedrun, you'll always spawn in selecting the first slot of your inventory. This proves that his world generation was completely fake, and the speedrunner is likely using a set seed. And to confirm this even further, after the runner loots a few chests and collects some beds, they accidentally reveal all the tabs they have open, and one of the tabs is literally a YouTube video titled Ruined Portal Village Island Seed. This proves the runner is using a set seed to gain an advantage in the speedrun, which explains why they had to fake their world generation. Anyway, the runner collects a few more beds and gathers some hay before they go to loot their final village chest. And inside, they find some pretty standard items. Some apples, a few iron ingots, a banana. Wait, what? That's the scariest banana I've literally ever seen. So, after destroying an entire family of villagers, the runner makes their way to a nearby ruined portal. And they actually get incredibly lucky as they get the exact amount of obsidian they need from the chest to complete the portal. However, after I loaded in this exact same Minecraft seed for myself and went to the exact same ruined portal chest, you'll actually notice that no obsidian spawns here, meaning the runner placed the obsidian in the chest off camera. So, after getting the obsidian from the chest, the runner completes the nether portal and spawns into the nether, where right off the bat, the runner can see a nether fortress directly next to their spawn. But let's slow down the footage and see what really happened. If you play this clip frame by frame, you'll actually notice the runner spawns in a completely different location, but edited their video together to make it seem like they spawned directly next to a fortress. This cheating is too obvious. So, the runner makes his way towards the fortress, but there's one slight issue. This fortress is extremely high up, and the runner doesn't have enough blocks in their inventory to build up to it. But out of nowhere, the runner approaches the wall and literally starts climbing up it while they are still in survival mode. And I have literally no idea how the runner is doing this. So, the runner climbs all the way up to the fortress, where they quickly locate the blaze spawner. But is it just me, or are there far more blazes than are supposed to naturally spawn here? Well, for a split second when the speedrunner looks up, if you look into the corner of the screen, you can actually see a second blaze spawner hidden in the roof, which was clearly placed by the speedrunner off camera so he'd have more blazes to fight. But that isn't the only fake thing about this part of the speedrun, because if you look into the top corner of the screen, you'll notice the speedrunner has magically equipped a fire resistance potion, even though we clearly saw the runner never collected this anywhere in the speedrun. Well, if you look at this part of the footage, when the runner appears to check his inventory, there's a very obvious cut in the recording when the runner suddenly gets a fire resistance potion. This is too obvious. So, with a fire resistance potion and 2 blaze spawners, the runner easily collects 7 blaze rods, where a normal speedrunner would then make their way towards a bastion to collect ender pearls. But this speedrunner seems to have a trick up their sleeve, because instead of traveling towards a bastion, they go back to their portal and spawn into the overworld. Interesting. Well, once back in the overworld, the runner starts frantically searching around this village, and that's when they come across the Bastion House? Is this a new Minecraft update? Well, the runner enters the Bastion House, where they find one singular thing: a pressure plate in the middle of the floor. And of course, when the runner steps on it, they're teleported directly into a bastion. This cheating is out of control. So, once in the bastion, the runner loots a few chests, collects a couple gold blocks, and finds a group of nearby piglins to trade with. Now, almost every single one of these trades with the piglins is completely normal, as the runner collects some pearls, obsidian, and even a potion of fire resistance. However, the runner also collects this emerald block, which is not only impossible to receive from a piglin trade, but remember this block for later. So, after collecting all the items he needs from the bastion, the runner crafts another portal and makes his way back to the overworld. But instead of using the process of triangulation like a real speedrunner would, he seems to have a slightly different idea, because the runner makes his way to this seemingly random water pool, and once he gets a little closer, you can literally see there's a hole in this pool that goes all the way down to the strongholds, which the runner clearly created himself before recording. So, the runner enters the strongholds, where they quickly locate the end portal room. But when the runner enters the room, take a closer look at these 2 corners. In a real end portal room, these corners are supposed to contain lava. However, in this speedrun, these 2 corners have been completely filled in with stone. So, when the runner goes to dig at these blocks, he of course finds a chest with some of the most overpowered items in all of Minecraft. This is so clearly fake. So, the runner places his eyes of ender, lights the end portal, and spawns into the end. And immediately, when the runner travels to the surface, why are all the end pillars extremely small? They're far shorter than the normal height of an end pillar. Not to mention, the ender dragon has somehow already lost a ton of health. Well, do you remember when earlier in the speedrun, the runner got this emerald block from a piglin trade? Well, he uses that very block to craft the soul sword, which destroys the ender dragon. This next speedrun begins with the runner literally spawning in a village house, which right off the bat proves this speedrun is fake, as it's obviously impossible for this to happen naturally. But giving the runner the benefit of the doubt, he's in survival mode, he doesn't have any XP, and he's selecting the first slot of his inventory. So this must just be a glitch, right? Well, literally 15 seconds later, the speedrunner cheats once again, because when he leaves the village house, he's greeted with a bonus chest, which is something clearly not allowed in a Minecraft speedrun. I don't think this guy knows the rules. Well, putting aside his weird spawn and the bonus chest, the rest of the speedrun starts off fairly normally, as the runner collects some wood, crafts a couple tools, and starts attacking the iron golem. But when the runner kills it, the golem literally drops iron blocks instead of iron ingots, which clearly means the runner messed with the game files before recording. So, within a absurd amount of iron, the runner collects a couple of beds, gathers some hay, and starts to search for a ruined portal. But on his way, he comes across a shipwreck on land? You have to be kidding me. I think it's pretty obvious it's impossible for a shipwreck to spawn in a plains biome, which means the runner must have built this shipwreck himself off camera. And when the runner opens his inventory just a few seconds later, you can literally see he still has some of the blocks he used to rebuild this shipwreck. This guy is terrible at cheating. So the runner enters the shipwreck where they start to loot the shipwreck chests. And while the first chest contains some pretty standard items, the second chest literally contains everything you need to enter the nether. Enough obsidian to build a portal, a flint and steel to light the portal, and even a fire resistance potion to help in the nether. This guy is so lucky. So after collecting all the items from the shipwreck chest, you'd expect the speedrunner to immediately use these resources to craft a portal and head to the nether. But instead of doing this right away, the runner starts to travel in a very specific direction, where after only about 30 seconds of running, the speedrunner stops at this patch of dirt, where if you look closely, has been marked out with a very specific spot to build a nether portal. So of course, after building the nether portal in this exact location, the runner spawns into the nether directly next to a fortress. I don't even know what to say. So the runner enters the fortress, where they immediately start looking for the blaze spawner room. But instead of a blaze spawner, the runner finds the sheep spawner? You have to be kidding me. Not only was this clearly built by the runner off camera, but why would anyone need a sheep spawner in a speedrun? Well, the runner starts attacking the sheep from the sheep spawner, and somehow, when he kills one of the sheep, it actually drops a blaze rod. What is happening? So, the runner continues to kill sheep, where he somehow collects 7 blaze rods, where the runner immediately starts to search for a bastion. But when the runner manages to locate one, he has one slight issue. This bastion is located on the opposite side of this giant lava pool. And without any ender pearls in their inventory, how is the runner supposed to travel to this bastion? Well, the runner places down a crafting table where they craft a singular wooden boat, where they decide to place it on the very edge of this block. But out of nowhere, the boat literally starts floating, and the runner gets in the floating boat, where he actually flies all the way to the bastion. Since when could boats fly in Minecraft? So the runner exits the flying boat, where they enter the bastion, craft an iron pickaxe, and start collecting gold blocks. But after the runner collects his gold, there's something completely fake about this speedrun, because in this clip, you'll actually notice the runner hits one of the piglins. But instead of fighting back, this piglin does nothing. This is only possible if the runner is in peaceful mode, something that's clearly not allowed during a speedrun. So, after collecting his gold blocks and crafting some ingots, the runner starts to trade with a group of nearby piglins, where thankfully, nothing suspicious happens, and the runner collects 12 ender pearls fairly quickly. However, the runner isn't getting as much luck with obsidian, as he doesn't get a single piece from the piglin trades. And this is a massive problem, because without obsidian, the runner can't craft another portal and can't head back to the overworld. But the runner still decides to leave the bastion without any obsidian, where they seem to be traveling in a very specific direction, until just 30 seconds later, they locate a ruined portal. But hold on, let's rewind the footage, because how did the runner know there was a ruined portal at this location? Well, if you take a closer look at these mushrooms on the floor, you'll actually notice that they form the shape of an arrow. And if you play the footage, the runner clearly followed the direction of the arrow all the way to the ruins portal. This mushroom arrow was clearly built by the speedrunner before recording to give himself an advantage. So, after following the mushroom arrow, the runner locates the ruins portal, where they go to loot the ruins portal chest. chests. But unfortunately, they only get 2 pieces of obsidian in the chests, which means they are just 1 block short of completing the portal. Well, the runner turns around for a brief second to organize a few items in their inventory, but when the runner turns back around and opens this exact same chest, a singular piece of obsidian has magically appeared, even though literally just seconds earlier, we clearly saw this chest had no obsidian left. Well, if we play this part of the footage back in slow motion, notice how this Strider jumps completely forward in time. This reveals there was a cut in the recording where the runner likely went off camera and placed the last piece of obsidian in the chest so he could finish the portal. So, the runner grabs the obsidian, completes the ruined portal, and finally spawns back into the overworld. But, without warning, the runner starts digging down directly where they spawned in and actually manages to dig straight into a stronghold. However, if we rewind the footage and play it frame by frame, we can actually see the runner spawns in a completely different location, but edited his video together to make it seem like he spawned directly on top of a stronghold. So the runner enters the stronghold, where he uses his Eyes of Ender to quickly locate the end's portal room. But this is when, out of nowhere, an animation of Steve holding a subscribe logo starts playing on the screen, in the middle of the speedrun. That was kind of weird. Well, after that random interruption, the runner enters the end portal room, where he has the exact amount of eyes he needs to complete the portal. But hold on, you likely didn't even notice it, but the runner just cheated. Because let's rewind the footage to before the runner played the random subscribe animation. If you look closely at his inventory, you'll notice the runner has 10 Eyes of Ender. However, after the animation played, the run resumes with him having 11 Eyes of Ender. This animation was clearly a way for the speedrunner to get the last Eye of Ender he needed off camera. So, the runner completes the end portal, spawns into the end, where thankfully, everything is pretty legit. The runner is still in survival mode, he doesn't have any strange items in his inventory, and the dragon is still at completely full health. But when the runner travels to the surface, what am I looking at? The runner is literally in the overworld while in the end. And when the dragon appears, it's literally a wooden ender dragon. You have to be kidding. Luckily, being a wood ender dragon, the runner makes pretty quick work of it and finishes the run. This next speedrun begins with the runner spawning directly next to a village, where he's selecting the first slot of his inventory, he's in survival mode, and he's also facing completely straight. Everything seems legit. But as the runner makes his way towards the village, take a closer look into the bottom left corner of the screen, where we can clearly see the message of a player joining the world. Not only does this prove the runner is on a multiplayer server, which is something obviously not allowed during a speedrun, but remember this player who joined the world for later in the run. So the runner enters the village, where they loot a few chests, collect a couple beds, and gather some hay, where they then decide they want to trade with a couple villagers to get some loot. But let's just say he finds a strange looking villager, who, if you couldn't already tell, is clearly the same player we saw join the world a few minutes ago, wearing a villager skin. So the runner goes up to this quote unquote villager and throws him a few wood planks, which is an item that real villagers can't even trade with in Minecraft. However, for these planks, this villager decides to give the speedrunner an entire stack of iron ingots in return. These guys aren't fooling anyone. So, with a stack of iron ingots, the runner crafts both an iron bucket and flint and steel, where they make their way to a nearby lava pool. But this speedrunner must be new to Minecraft, because they can't seem to figure out how to craft a nether portal. Well, let's take a listen into his audio to figure out what's going on.
How to build a speedrunner's nether portal in less than a minute. For this, you'll need to find yourself a lava pool, and you'll also—
If you couldn't tell, this speedrunner is literally watching a tutorial on how to build another portal during a speedrun. You have to be kidding me. So, the runner finally completes the nether portal and lights it using their flint and steel. And when he spawns into the nether, the runner gets incredibly lucky, as he literally spawns directly next to a fortress. But this part of the speedrun is actually completely fake, because look, before the runner entered the nether, notice notice how he is standing on the right side of the portal. However, when he spawns into the nether, he's suddenly now on the left side of the portal. This reveals there was a cut in the recording where the runner easily located the nether fortress off camera. So, the runner enters the fortress where they immediately start to search for a blaze spawner room. And on their way, the speedrunner comes across a nether fortress chest. However, while the loot in this chest may appear to be innocent, it's actually impossible for both fire resistance and an iron pickaxe to spawn here, meaning the runner placed them in the chest before recording. So, with a fire resistance potion, it's pretty easy for the runner to fight the blazes without much trouble. And on the surface, it would appear as though the runner gets extremely lucky as he collects 7 blaze rods almost instantly. However, let's rewind the footage and see what really happened. If you look closely into the very corner of the spawner, you'll actually notice these particles in the air. And just a few seconds later, blaze rods magically seem to be coming from where these particles are. It's pretty obvious these particles are coming from an invisibility potion, and the same player we've seen throughout the speedrun is using the potion to give the runner extra blaze rods without us noticing. So, the runner collects his 7 blaze rods, where a normal speedrunner would begin a search for a nearby bastion. But on his way, the runner comes across the Bastion Prep House? Is this a new Minecraft feature? Well, the runner enters the Bastion Prep House, where of course, he finds the exact same player we've seen throughout the run inside. And he also finds a chest with almost everything you need for a bastion. A bunch of gold blocks, an iron pickaxe, and a bunch of god apples. And on top of all of this, in the very corner of the Bastion Prep House is a lever, and when the runner flips it, he's immediately teleported directly into a bastion. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. So, the runner enters the bastion, where using his loot from the prep house, easily crafts gold ingots and starts to trade with the piglins. However, for literally 3 minutes straight, the runner does not get a single ender pearl from any of the piglins, which is terrible luck as the runner needs ender pearls to continue the speedrun. Well, the runner turns around when they go to loot this bastion chest, where inside they literally find every single ender pearl that they need. However, this is clearly impossible, as ender pearls can't even spawn in bastion chests. And to further confirm this is fake, at this part of the footage, we can literally see his friend filling this chest with ender pearls. They're so bad at cheating. So, the runner collects all the pearls and rods that he needs. There's just one slight issue. The runner only has 6 obsidian in his inventory, so how is he supposed to craft a portal and head back to the overworld? Well, the runner decides to run all the way back to his original nether portal, but when he spawns back into the overworld, he spawns directly next to the strongholds, which is literally impossible, as we clearly saw this nether portal was located at a lava pool earlier in the run. So the runner enters the strongholds, where it seems as though he immediately knows the location of the end portal room. But let's rewind the footage to see what really happens. If you look closely at the walls of this stronghold, you'll notice a very unusual amount of torches. And if you play the clip, you'll notice the runner actually followed these strange torches all the way to the end portal room. It's pretty obvious the runner placed these torches here before recording to remind him which direction to go for the end portal room. So the runner enters the end portal room, lights the portal, and makes his way into the end. And thankfully, his spawn appears to be pretty normal, as the dragon has full health, the runner is still in survival mode, and he doesn't have any weird items in his inventory. But when the runner makes his way to the surface, is that Notch? This is the world's luckiest speedrun. Well, the runner goes up to Notch, where he immediately starts throwing stacks and stacks of god apples at the runner. But that isn't all, because Notch actually types in the chat reading the message, "Follow me for a surprise." And after the runner follows Notch throughout the entire end, he leads the speedrunner to this lever. And when the runner flips the lever, it reveals one of the most overpowered loot rooms I've seen in Minecraft. Minecraft. Full netherite armor, a chest with literally every overpowered item in Minecraft, and even a commands block waiting for the speedrunner. Well, taking advantage of this overpowered room, the runner opens the command block where they start typing a command to kill the Ender Dragon. And after the press of one singular button, the dragon actually dies. Notch just made that speedrun so overpowered. This next speedrun begins with the runner mining some wood, crafting a few tools, and locating a nearby village, where right off the bat, there's already something fake about this speedrun. Because when the runner goes to loot this village chest, he finds this potion of fire resistance, which is an item that can't spawn naturally in a village chest, so remember it for later. The run continues with the speedrunner collecting a few beds, gathering some hay, before they start searching for the iron golem. But before the runner goes to kill it, he starts acting incredibly weird. Take a listen.
Iron Golem and your friends fly high into the sky on my command.
Is he trying to put the mobs in a trance? Well, after only a few seconds go by, the mobs in the village start magically floating in the air. What am I watching? So, after hypnotizing the mobs in the village, the runner kills the iron golem, collects his iron, and makes his way to a nearby ruined portal. And while it looks like the runner gets lucky, as they get the exact amount of obsidian they need to complete the portal, the problem is, 2 of the blocks in the portal are crying obsidian, which means this portal won't be able to light. However, the runner still decides to pull out his flint and steel, and what? How did the portal just light? I am so confused. So, the runner lights the portal, enters it, and they spawn into the nether. And at a first glance, it would appear as though the runner gets incredibly lucky, spawning directly next to a fortress. However, there's something about this spawn that's completely fake, because if you look closely, you'll actually notice this lava has already flowed towards the ground. In a real speedrun, lava can't start flowing until you spawn into the nether. So, this flowing lava means the runner has already been in the nether, which explains why he spawned directly next to a fortress. So, the runner enters a nearby fortress, where they immediately start to look for the blaze spawner room. But as he's doing this, let's take a closer look at the fortress. Do you notice how there doesn't seem to be a single mob anywhere in the fortress? Well, when the runner goes to change his FOV, he accidentally reveals that his game mode is set to peaceful, which means hostile mobs can't spawn. Not to mention, peaceful mode is obviously not allowed during a speedrun. However, when the runner finally locates the blaze spawner room, blazes actually start to spawn while the runner is in peaceful mode. This is literally impossible because after I tested this out for myself, you can't even manually spawn blazes while in peaceful mode. So not only is the runner cheating, but I have no idea how the blazes have spawned in. So the runner starts fighting the blazes, where he's getting incredibly lucky with his drops. And the runner actually manages to collect 7 rods pretty quickly. However, instead of leaving the fortress as soon as he has 7 rods, the runner continues to fight blazes, which is incredibly bizarre, as 7 is more than enough to continue the run. But the runner continues to fight blazes until he has 12 blaze rods, which has not only wasted a ton of time, but will make more sense very soon. So, after collecting his rods, a normal speedrunner would then make their way to a bastion. But on his way, the runner comes across a Ferrari in Minecraft? How many updates did I miss? Well, the runner actually hops into the Ferrari and starts driving around the nether. I've seen it all in Minecraft speedruns. So, the runner drives the Ferrari all the way to the bastion, where thankfully, things seem pretty normal. As the runner collects gold blocks, crafts a few ingots, and starts to trade with some nearby piglins. But this is when the strangest thing starts to happen, because after the runner throws his gold, take a very close look at these piglins, where we can clearly see that some of them are making trades without any gold ingots in their hands. And I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea how that's possible. So, the runner finishes trading with the piglins, where he gets some pretty standard loot. But instead of leaving the bastion after collecting 12 ender pearls, he waits until he receives 16 pearls, which, like the blaze rods, is far more than a normal speedrunner would collect, so remember this for later. So, after collecting his items, the runner grabs his obsidian and starts to craft a nether portal. But if you look closely, you'll actually notice he seemed to build this portal in a very specific location. And to nobody's surprise, the runner spawns in directly into a stronghold. So, the runner enters the strongholds, we're giving them credit, they find the end portal room very quickly. But let's actually take a closer look at this part of the speedrun, because the speedrunner actually just cheated. Because take a closer look at the roof in the strongholds. If you look closely, you'll notice a very obvious line of cobblestone in the middle of the roof. The issue is, in a real strongholds, cobblestone does not naturally spawn here at all. And if you play the footage, the runner actually follows this cobblestone line all the way to the end portal room. It's pretty obvious the runner built this here before recording, so he remembered which direction to travel in. So, the runner quickly enters the end portal room, but this is where things get absolutely crazy. Do you remember how the runner collected 12 blaze rods from the fortress and 16 ender pearls from the bastion? Well, this means the runner has 16 eyes of ender, which is far more than you need to light an end portal. Until when the runner enters the room... What? This is the biggest end portal I've ever seen. And if you look closely, you'll notice this giant end portal actually has 16 slots for Eyes of Ender. And it now makes sense why the runner collected extra rods and pearls in the nether. So the runner lights the portal, spawns into the ends, where thankfully things appear to be pretty normal. The dragon's at full health, the runner is still in survival mode, and he doesn't have any strange items in his inventory. But when the runner goes to the surface, there is not a single end pillar in sight. And without any end crystals to heal the ender dragon, the runner pretty easily destroys him. Click on screen to watch even more hilariously fake Minecraft speedruns.